Welcome to the Empowered Wife podcast, where it's all about fixing your marriage without your husband's conscious effort so that you feel desired, taken care of, and special, even if your relationship feels completely hopeless. I'm Laura Doyle, and if you've ever said, "My husband blames me for everything," this episode is for you. For years, my guest Tillys' husband threatened her with divorce, and they were constantly getting into arguments. She was living in fear. Then she started doing some experiments in her marriage, and the results were so positive that today she says she has no fear because her marriage is peaceful and strong. She's going to tell us how she did it so you can do it too. Something big is happening here on the Laura Doyle campus, and you are invited. Hundreds of women have become experts on the 6 intimacy skills and transformed their marriages by becoming certified Laura Doyle relationship coaches who live their purpose, have more intimacy, and earn for their families. In my free masterclass, Purpose, Prosperity, and Intimacy, How to Have All Three and Help Others Do the Same, I share directly from our popular relationship coach training and certification course about the number one most important qualification for becoming a successful relationship coach. I also reveal the indispensable first step to having a passionate, peaceful relationship and how to share it with other women. I explain about why our coaches have an unfair advantage over other relationship coaches and counselors. And I go step by step through our proven coaching curriculum and why it's so effective in saving marriages and empowering coaches. Register today for Purpose, Prosperity, and Intimacy. Have all three and help others do the same at lauradoyle.org/purpose. That's lauradoyle.org/purpose. For years, my guest Tillys' husband threatened her with divorce, and they were constantly getting into arguments. She was living in fear. Then she started doing some experiments in her marriage, and the results were so positive that today she says she has no fear because her marriage is peaceful and strong. She's going to tell us how she did it so you can do it too. Tilly, welcome to the Empowered Wife podcast. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, Laura. Thanks for having me. It's such an honor. Really, really happy to be here today. Really, really excited. So thank you so much for the privilege.
Oh, that's so great. Well, it is, we are kind of celebrating you today, Tilly, right? And your big accomplishment in your marriage. And we want to hear the whole story. And then we'll really do our happy dance, I think, when we get to the end. But take us back to the beginning first, though. What were things like when your marriage was struggling?
So yeah, take us back. Marriage started all right, you see. I think marriage started okay, but I think the problem I had was, it's almost like you're given a really good car and you're not taught how to drive it. So I was given this beautiful thing called marriage, but I did not know how to drive it. So I thought what submission meant was to forget about myself, forget about my dreams, my passion, what I loved doing, looking after myself, my friends. I just thought it meant, be with this man and be everything to the man, do everything for him, not understanding, obviously, now that was all controlling or trying to be. But yeah, I thought that was it. So I'm a very strong, passionate individual. But yeah, came into this marriage and I started becoming cool, quiet, and just, live for the man. And it won't take too long before you start being resentful. And my true self was was disappearing very, very rapidly. And of course, it was, flowing over to the man that I loved and love. And he wasn't obviously enjoying the person I was becoming or I was. It was definitely not the person he fell in love with, obviously. And so, not long after I was hearing, oh, we're not compatible, we're not meant for each other, and it was really horrible. I think, the first time I heard from him that, yeah, I think we should just go our separate ways. And the D word actually came out. My heart broke, it really broke. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, where do you go from here? I'd seen marriages fail, and I thought that I knew when I was going into mine, I thought I nailed it. I thought I knew what to do and I would know what to do. But obviously that wasn't the case. And it was just terrible. It never really got better. I mean, I tried everything from that moment to be good, or I thought I was being, but obviously I wasn't because things weren't getting better. We were going from argument to argument, from fight to fight, and the distance was just growing. The fight was there. We weren't just really connecting, and it was just so painful. It was a really, really heart-wrenching, terrible state to be in. It was really, really painful. So that was how we lived for so many years.
Oh, it sounds painful and heavy and hard,
Yeah,
and lonely and scary.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
Mm,
here you set out to be a submissive wife. It sounds like
yeah,
that
yeah.
was your goal. That was you were totally happy to do that. It didn't you
Yeah.
I mean, because sometimes I think people hear the word submissive and they go, "Oh, I don't want to be that." But you were open to that. You were willing. Is that
Because
right?
that was what I was raised with. That's what I thought a wife should be. Submissive wife, yes. But I think the issue was I didn't understand what that meant.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what I've now understood in terms of what respect means. But I just thought, yeah, from what I believe, respect the man. But what does that mean? What does it mean to be submissive? I didn't get it. I just thought, yeah, it just means leaving everything and everyone and just living a lonely life that left me so many nights crying all alone. It was really, really terrible. I couldn't sleep well. My health wasn't in a good state either. So it was really terrible. It was
Oh,
I don't wish any woman should go through that ever, ever in their life.
no. No. And it's just horrible to feel so unloved. I mean, I imagine
Hmm.
when you fell in love, you felt very loved. You felt very connected and
Yeah, yeah,
confident, and then
yeah.
it all kind of went away. And he was threatening divorce pretty regularly, it sounds like.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
And was
yeah,
there a moment when you thought, well, we can't go on like this? Was there ever a part of you that thought, yeah, divorce, maybe that's what we should do?
yeah, yeah. So yeah, so it came to a night and I was like, yeah, fine. And I, he said it and I was like, yeah, cool, let's do it. And the difference is that he had said it for years, obviously. He had never really done anything. And this is where I started off. I mean, of course, in hindsight, thinking that women are really powerful and you've got to know how much power we have in this relationship. Because when I got to that point, I'm like, yeah, cool, let's do it. And that night, started Googling. I'm like, yeah, divorce lawyers, let's do it. I went to bring out the marriage certificate. Like, yep, let's just do it. We might as well just do it. So I was almost at the point of, yeah, let's go for it. Let's just go. I thought, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
We'll divide the kids' care and we'll be fine. We'll go our
Oh,
separate ways. That's all right.
and
But I
then
knew that's not what I wanted.
okay. So, and it's tempting in a way because you think, well, this is very painful. Maybe this will, it's sort of like if you have a headache, you want it to stop as soon as possible, right? Was that
Mhm.
kind of where you were
Yeah,
at?
yeah, that's it. I'd gotten to that point that night. I remember it vividly. I just thought, yes, this is it. I never wanted divorce, but it's going to happen now. I'm going to get a lawyer. I'm going to call them in the morning and we're going to, he wasn't backing down either. I was like, fine, let's do it
Oof,
and let's be done with it.
awful, awful.
Very,
All right,
very.
but it wasn't really what you wanted.
It wasn't. But at that point, I was fed up, basically. I just
Ah,
thought, let's
yeah,
do it.
right.
Let's do it. I was really hurted. I was hurting. I was upset. I don't know, I was just down. I was depressed even. I was just not in a happy place at all.
And the pain is real, right? The pain is very, very
Absolutely.
real when you're
Absolutely.
in that situation, regardless of how you got there.
Mhm.
So, okay, so what happened? You didn't, did you call a divorce lawyer or no? Or
So I did not. I did not. Um, and and we just carried on. We just carried on. Things didn't necessarily get better. We just carried on in that state of pain and fear and trauma and everything. And I just concluded, he can't really emotionally satisfy me. I just concluded he's probably a narcissist and it's just got no emotion, no feeling, nothing. And we just can't connect and we're just not going to connect. But inside me, I'm like, so what do you do? What do you then do? Because I was like, right, I'm not going to carry on living in this state. Like I said, I'm a very powerful, passionate individual. But at this point, I was feeling so powerless and stressed out and down. And, there was no energy, no glow to me anymore. And I just thought, right. But all along the years, I'd been searching, I'd been Googling. And I know I can't really suggest counseling to him because he's not going to go with me.
So that's out of the question.
So that is out of the question. But I was like, all right, I did loads of stuff, because I started searching internet and you would find loads of things. I wrote things down in terms of set this and set the ultimatum, say that if we have to have a talk by this, this day, I give you 3 days to decide what you want to do. If not, and I just threatened loads of stuff. They didn't work. They never did.
Oh my God. I shouldn't laugh, but I relate to you, Tilly. And I just love I love the ultimatum thing. Like, okay, this is how we're gonna solve it. You've got 3 days. He's threatened divorce, you've threatened divorce, no one's doing anything, and you're like, okay, you've got 3 days to decide. I just find it amusing now because I remember doing similar stuff in my marriage, and it just that just didn't really ever get me where I wanted to go. It sounds like it didn't work for you either.
No, it didn't. It didn't. But there was a very significant point, right? There was a very significant incident I remembered where we'd argued that evening. And he's a very lovely guy. He's a very, very, very lovely person that deep down loves me and he wants the best for me, but I didn't see it at that point. I didn't understand it. And we'd argued so much that night and just thought, right, I'm going to the guest room to sleep in the guest room. I've had enough of this. But in my usual, mad woman fashion, I ran after him that night into the room and I was like, we need to resolve this. We need to talk about this. And Laura, he did not have it. So he said, no, get out of the room. And when he said, get out, when he ordered me out, I was so broken. I could not believe it. I could not believe he could say that or do that. So I just went to our bedroom and I just cried again. And I just picked up my phone, started searching. I was like, yep, my husband hates me. What do you do? How can I just get my power? I just need some power. I need some power here because I'm feeling so low. And then I came across your blog. I came across a blog about, and I think the title is that. I think the title is My Husband Hates Me or something like that. And that title just got me. So I started reading, and what I read there just mirrored what I was feeling in terms of I'd felt that, yep, we'd got into the point where it was constantly, every conversation was like a criticism to me. It wasn't a feedback. I was just, it was just me, I think, in that story. And I thought, this sounds sensible. But the apology bit didn't sound sensible. That's an action. But everything else clicked. Everything else felt like something was opening my eyes to a different side of things I'd never seen. So I was like, okay, who is she anyway? Who's this Laura Doyle? And I started reading a little bit more about you. And then I saw that you had a book. And that book had the title of what I was looking for. At that point, I just wanted to be empowered. Wow. That's it. I just needed the power. So I saw the book and then I ordered it straight away that night. And it arrived the next day. But because my husband is very intelligent as well, I couldn't read it where he would see it. So I hid it and I read it in about 2 days, highlighting nearly everything in it because everything in that book was just talking to me. And I think that was what gave me a glimmer of hope that maybe just hold up. Maybe don't call the divorce lawyers yet. Maybe just wait. Try this. Maybe, I don't know, just try it.
Oh, I love that. So gentle, right? Like, hey, uh, maybe, yeah, we'll just hold off. Maybe we can do some experiments here and just see if it helps. And I just get chills hearing that you wanted to be empowered.
Yeah.
You wanted to be empowered as a wife, and that was the title of the book, and that really grabbed you. So I love that. So what did you, so he doesn't know because you're reading the book on the sly, right?
Yeah.
So what did you start doing differently than what you had been doing?
So the thing that grabbed my attention the most from the book was not necessarily responding to everything he's saying. So letting go of control is really what it means. But obviously, I didn't know at the time. But basically, that's what you were saying in there. Not necessarily, because fear had led me to the point of thinking if I don't answer every single thing, it's going to take me for a ride. If I don't answer, he's probably going to be upset. If I don't answer, you know, I mean, fear was just driving me basically. So the first thing I did was what we call duct tape in the world of Laura Doyle, and just be, slapping it on as much as I could. Everything was okay. Mm-hmm. And I just became on mute for a few days, but I knew I needed to do something. I wrote all the six intimacy skills out. I knew I couldn't practice some of them because they're just way too outrageous
Ridiculous.
at the point. It's just like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
But this
right.
one we can do. We can just, silently be okay and
Yeah.
just go. I had my own version of I hear you. Sometimes I was like, I hear you. Sometimes okay, okay, and sometimes the I hear you was even I hear you. It wasn't even really nice, but it was just okay. Just leave me alone for the minute whilst I figure this thing out. So that was the first thing I did. I just stepped back a bit. And in stepping back, because he had already complained of the energy that was coming from me, which was, it was becoming masculine and negative, and it was all that fear driving me. And in stepping back, just in that 1 week or so, Laura, the atmosphere in the house had changed. I could tell the temperature was different. I could, it was a good feeling. I started feeling even personally. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to waste any time here. I still didn't feel like I wanted to talk, because the next thing I wanted to do was, or that I felt could be doable was the gratitude bit. But I do feel grateful. I wasn't feeling it yet. So I was like, okay, in that book, I think it suggests texting. So I was like, right, let's text. And then I sent my first, so this was April last year was when I found this out. So I sent the first text that was a gratitude text, but it was a mix of gratitude as well as what we call spouse fulfilling prophecy. So I dogged it to go and find some evidences to say, yep, thank you for this, thank you for this, thank you for this, really lovely. And I sent it off. All right, so that was my first one. Got no response, which was great. Left it for another week because I got no response. It's like, yeah, cool.
Right. That's
Um,
disappointing, right? I mean, here you made this Herculean effort to be kind, to
yeah,
be grateful, and you
yeah.
did it, and then nothing, right? I mean, that's disappointing.
In a way, it was disappointing, all right, but because the first attempt at duct tape was at least looks like it was working, I felt okay. Um, let's give it some time. But what I noticed is I wasn't that energy of chasing after him, pursuing and running was definitely decreasing. But I felt that was helping the relationship as well. So I sent
Oh,
my second text, and my second text was a little bit more vulnerable, talking about I miss you and you know that. And that second text did not get a response either. Okay. Um, but But what I was doing in the meantime was I'd already contacted Laura Dole's anyway. And I was like, I need private coaching. I need straight away. Like, I'm not wasting time on this one. I didn't want to, because I felt things were changing. I could tell things were changing because even though I didn't get a response to the second text, I think later on that week, there was something I expressed the desire for that I just wanted him to help me with. He jumped at it, helped me. He even checked on me after, sent a text, just checking on me. I was like, okay. But I didn't get a text. I didn't get a reply to my other text, but I did get a text, later on that week that just checking on me after he helped me. So I was like, okay, maybe maybe, just maybe, exactly. And then I eventually got a coach like in May, a private one. So I loved it. I was like, yeah, there we go. You're gonna be my savior here. And we talked. I connected really well with my coach, and it was beautiful. And she basically helped me identify I love the coaching because it's more introspective. Is look at yourself, look at what you're doing, and the first thing I think we did after that was to identify what I desired, but obviously also where I needed to tender an apology. Oh my God.
Just awful, isn't it?
That's the worst one.
It's the worst one.
It's the worst one. I mean, I still don't like it.
No,
I must say, a year on, I still don't
me
like
neither.
it.
No.
But I find that every single time I do it, there is an immediate response. All right. So whilst I sent the two texts and there wasn't a response, when I finished my first coaching session or so, I attended my apology to my husband just to say I basically was clear, just like we've been taught in that book and by the coaching how to apologize and not stay and then don't stay around too much, just apologize and run away quickly.
Run away. Like you escaped.
Exactly. But I did tender this apology that night and he looked up. I could feel it and I knew he felt it as well. And his response, Laura, his response was thank you. So when he said the thank you, I was so moved. I was so moved. I knew something had broken. I knew it was an unusual response, but it was a response. It was a good way. And that was from that moment was when I knew this thing is working. This thing is working.
Ooh, what a great story, Tilly. I love your amazing accountability. I also just love being able to see inside your head because you're sharing it with us about how I thought, well, I could do this and this, but I'm not going to do that apology thing, right? I love that. And then we get to this part. It's so endearing because your accountability is so big. But I got to ask you this, Tilly, wasn't some part of you like a little put out that you had to do all this and he wasn't probably doing anything to fix the marriage, right? Like, were you upset about that? I mean,
that came to my mind, every so often. But when I read the blog and the book, the thing I liked about it was the fact that I could do it without him doing anything. But the reason I think the thought of the fact that he wasn't doing anything wasn't hurting so much was because I noticed some of the things I was doing, he was mirroring. So I was getting a lot more gratitude from him. Oh, thank you. This is delicious. So I'm telling the kids to be grateful for mommy. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's all right then. So I'm not necessarily making him do stuff, but he's doing lovely stuff anyway. So that's okay.
Oh, so that kept you motivated because you could see little signs of spring, it sounds like, poking through the snow. Things okay. Wow. Well, I totally am impressed with your apology story. And that's after one coaching session, it sounds like.
That was the first coaching session. That was just the first. And I still had I still had 5 months to go.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Wow. Wow.
It
So
was a really wonderful thing.
yeah, it sounds like I mean, this takes a lot of courage, right? I think anyone listening, I mean, in a way it goes by fast. So then I apologize, right? But it's like, no, it takes a lot of humility and courage to get to that point. You got there really fast, it sounds like, with the help of your coach. So I really admire that. So then what happened after that?
So this was what May we started this, and of course, we could see that. Now, another big thing that then happened, Laura, was I came home, I think in July or whatever, and he was asking me about my passport. And I wonder, why is he asking me about my passport? Has your passport been renewed? And I was wondering, okay, why is he not so interested in my passport? What's going on? Okay, what was going on, which I didn't know, was he was planning a surprise trip abroad for my birthday. So he flew us abroad to the city of love in August for my birthday. And that was the most amazing birthday I've had so far, the most amazing family holiday, I mean, even the kids said, this was the most amazing holiday, and the other thing that came out of that was the fact that a friend of mine that obviously, our marriage was troubled as well, and we'd been talking. I, I, I I mean, immediately I found you, I told her about it, and she wasn't really up for it. She wasn't interested. But when she saw this trip, when she saw that, yeah, are you serious? Your husband all paid trip abroad. I didn't have to say anything else. She jumped into the challenge in August and she joined the Ridiculously Happy Wife straight away. And I'm not even joking. The relationship, she joined in August or so. The relationship by September, because theirs was worse, I think. Theirs was worse because they were shouting at each other. They were not talking anymore within the house. They were really living separate lives. She didn't even know how it was going to get better. But after a month or two or so of being in the Ridiculously Happy Wife program, she was telling me lovely stuff. I mean, things have changed in their home. Things have changed. And every time we're talking now, she's just, beaming and she's happy. And, I can see the husband is more settled as well. And so, yeah, I did have my journey abroad, but I got a friend that also got something from it.
So Tilly, you became this beacon of hope. Like you were the
Yeah,
light for her to see what was possible. And just saying, oh, maybe you should read
yeah,
this book or this blog or listen to this podcast she wasn't, nah, she was, But when she saw your marriage change, like this is the same guy that was threatening
yeah,
divorce that took you on this all expenses paid trip,
exactly.
the best trip yeah. So, okay. So, I mean, that must have felt really good because
Yeah,
you had a hand in fixing her marriage, your friend's
yeah,
marriage too.
yeah,
So it's not
yeah.
just about you anymore. You're
No,
now on this mission to end world divorce, really. But I
yeah,
mean, starting with
yeah,
yours, but
yeah,
also, I mean, what a feeling.
yeah.
Amazing. Wow. I'm so impressed. Well, what else? Anything else? Any other skills that you started using in your
Oh,
relationship?
oh, yeah. So, I mean, the receiving part is great. The receiving part, and I'm still working on that receiving part. You see, what I love about the intimacy skills. And my friend and I now talk, the one that is in the program, we now talk regularly because she now understands what I mean when I'm talking about the skills and things. And what we find empowering about these intimacy skills is the fact that, and I mean, this would be useful for other women to hear. It's not like our marriages are perfect, right? We're two different people, but I've come to understand that we're two different people. I've come to understand that whatever happens, I feel like I've got the power to bring things back to where they should be. I'm a lot calmer in my responses. I'm not reacting. I'm not jumping at things because there is no more fear. There is no fear in me. I've not heard the D word in a long time. And even if I hear it now, I know what to do. I don't need to jump and be like a headless chicken anymore and be reacting and be, you know, but my friend and I, we talk about it, and like, yeah, I'm just the queen in my kingdom now. I'm just so, really relaxed and happy, and I just receive graciously. And when anything is done, I'm just full of gratitude. And I think the other thing, obviously, that was with gratitude was the fact that, at the start of our marriage, I was probably rejected with a thank you. But what I learned from your program as well is the fact that it doesn't have to be just the word thank you. There are loads of creative ways that you can show gratitude. And that's what I learned from there as well. Like, oh, just the oh wow, oh, this looks great is enough,
Yes.
and that just
Yes.
makes the difference. You can see, I mean, he might not necessarily give me a full smile, but I can see the side smile when I'm full of gratitude, and I can see the gratitude coming from him as well. So when you talk about us being mirrored, I see all of that. I see all of that coming through, and it's just so pleasant to see. It's just so beautiful. It just fills me with joy, with joy, and I see it, reflected in the kids as well, which is just great. So I've adopted the receiving. We didn't necessarily have any issues with financials in our house, so that was okay. Um, Yeah, but it's and there is one I say a lot, which I see manifesting so much with it, which is the irresistible magnet bit. He can't stop talking to me. He's running, just come and just talks and just keeps talking to me, which is just pleasant. It's just lovely. It just makes me feel desired and wanted and cherished, and it's just a beautiful, really beautiful place to be. I'm just so pleased, you know, at what I have seen in myself. The growth, the development, the calmness. As my friend even says, she can see the calmness in my voice, because I'm in a place that is a lot better. I function better when there is no fear, and I think all of us do function better when you're not living in fear. And I think that's the biggest thing. No matter what happens in a relationship, if you can remove the fear, stop running after the man, just give him his space. Don't try to control him. Don't try to control everything. um, the bigger one, I think, also that I've used and I still use a lot is a combination of self care and gratitude. So when I'm really wound up, I'm just like, right, which self care? Because I made my list, earlier on, and I keep adding to that list. Which self care can I do right now? And sometimes I'm combining two and three. I mean, that's the other thing I probably missed in my story earlier. That's one of the other things I started doing, a daily, I call it self care and gratitude journal. So in that journal, there were three aspects to it. There's the husband gratitude, there's the life gratitude, and there's the self-care, basically. So I wrote that for the whole of, May, all those early days. I did it every single day. And I found that just doing that, that act alone was changing my inside. It was changing me inside, and I did not know. It was changing the way I viewed life, the way I showed up in my relationship was changing. So my self-care, I don't mess with it at all. I can just go, yeah, just I'm not gonna respond to this, whatever it is that is showing up. I'm not gonna respond right now. I'm going to think to myself, what are you feeling right now? How are you feeling right now? And what do you want? And I basically just honor that. Whatever happens.
I love it. What a brilliant way to start your day with that journaling, the gratitude for life, the gratitude for husband, and then your self-care list. And I love this question. Brilliant question. What can I do right now for
Yeah.
self-care? What can I do right now to make myself happy? And Tilly, I have to say, you seem very happy. You seem joyful, and I
Yeah.
hear calm for sure. But yeah, and that I can hear your smile. Can't see you right now, but I can hear your smile coming through, and yeah, just the laughter. So you sound ridiculously happy, I have to say.
Yes, I am.
So, so you've changed, your heart changed as a result of this practice. I really
Yeah,
hear, and you feel more calm and joyful.
yeah,
And also, you sound more confident to me. Is that fair
yeah.
to say?
It's absolutely true. I'm confident now. Well, I've always been confident, but I think that period just took it all away.
Yeah.
It just took it all away. I couldn't really show up. I mean, the other thing, of course, that is probably worth mentioning is the affirmations now. Affirm myself, because that's what helped me along the journey as well, to remind myself that I am beautiful, I'm okay, I'm confident, I'm self-sufficient, because just remembering one of the other things that probably happened between me and husband then is basically him coming to the point and saying to me, I can't make you happy. And that's the problem as well, because at the time I thought, yeah, I needed someone else to make me happy, because I basically said to him, no, you're not making me happy. But with self-care and with just paying attention to myself, I'm able to be in a place of happy, just be happy. Yeah, I'm able to focus. And I think a lot of times we lose that focus. We lose that focus on ourselves. We're focused too much on the relationship, on the husband, on what is not doing well. And focus, that's another thing. Focus is another thing that has played out in this journey. I consciously tell my brain, I'm like, no, 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 what are you going to focus on right now?
Oh, powerful.
I
Amazing.
just talk to myself, just what are you going to look at? What are you going to focus? If anything irritates me, are you going to focus on what is irritating you right now? Or are you going to focus on the other great things he does? And that just changes how I feel.
So you are a transformed woman, clearly, which
I
is
am.
awesome. What about your husband? Has he changed?
I don't know whether he has, but the I think he has in a way, to be fair, because what I notice is when he wants to even give me feedbacks these days, I don't, again, it might be because I've changed, but the feedbacks feel a lot more gentle. And I think some of the things that I probably even used to feedback on is, I used to call it criticism back in the days, by the way. I find myself calling it feedback now. But some of the things he used to feedback on, I think he just ignores them now. He just lets them go. Like, there's no point. He'd prefer a peaceful, lovely home than us, get into any battles. And I think he's just come to understand now. And I think we're coming to understand both every day that there's some things that we don't need to fight over. They're just pointless. Pointless stuff. So I think the answer to that question is probably a yes and a no, because I can still see he in himself there, but I also see a lot more different things coming out. So I see the gratitude coming out. I see a softer approach to how he deals with me, where I was thinking before he could never be, a softer man or whatever. So I think he's a bit of both.
Wow. Wow, I love it. And it sounds like, well, tell us about what it's like at your house now every day. What is your relationship like?
Oh, it's a happy place. It's a happy place, and it's one of the things that was on my, desire when we started this journey. To have a peaceful, passionate, playful home, and that's what I have.
Congratulations, Tilly. What an accomplishment. It's fantastic. So what is your tip for someone who is where you were, where her husband's threatening divorce, and she's also Googling divorce lawyers and thinking this is just too painful. There's too much fighting. And now she wants what you have now, where he takes her on a trip for her birthday, the best trip ever, and their home is peaceful and playful. What's your best tip for her? What should she do?
So I would say, I would suggest, to take a step back, all right, and do the work. So, and the work basically, I think, is learn, I say this, learn the six intimacy skills. Because
Right?
the reason I say that is because if I say to just apply the duct tape, which I started applying and it worked magic, that might not be that person's issue. But I think you need to read that book. I think you need to read that Empowered Wife book first and then find yourself in the book. There are a few things, obviously, that clearly helped me, which is stop controlling. Just stop it. Just stop. Stop controlling. Get rid of the fear. Just get rid of it. Just tell yourself, you know, you don't have to be afraid. This man actually does love you. Right now, he's upset about things or whatever. Maybe the respect has flown away because you're trying to control everything. Just stop it. Just be at peace, first of all. Just let it go. Don't talk back when he's talking. And don't, once you see the argument is, you know, getting heated, just leave it. And find your focus, be attentive, find your focus on the good thing, whatever, however little it is. Focus on the good things and be grateful for it. Just be grateful for whatever little thing you find in life, in your relationship, in anything else that is working or just working a little in your life. Just be grateful for it. Be a happy person. Be a happy person. Because the other day, my husband said, I just woke up. Why are you smiling? I'm just like, I'm happy. Just happy. just, just be a happy person. It makes a difference. So I've said, doctor, keep your mouth quiet. I told myself, I had to tell myself that way. I was like, just keep short. Just keep short. That's the way I had to tell myself to be able to keep it short. But just, calm yourself down. Don't be controlling, be grateful, find evidences in your life, in everything around you that just tells you about positivity, and be positive. And remember, whatever you're thinking in your mind is going to affect how you show up, how you behave. There is no two way to it. Whenever you can catch yourself, stop for a minute rather than react. Stop for a minute, think, what do I want to show up as? And instead do a different response, just something else. If you have to walk away, I've had to walk away. If you have to walk away in that moment just to get yourself. And obviously, I will also say, make that self-care list, because in that moment, you just need something really quick. Sometimes I just lock myself in the bath very quickly and just soak. I just love this soak and just get a book. Sometimes I'm listening to the podcast, just listen to something or just something, or sometimes music. Sometimes I do 2-3 minutes of dance, to just, dance, because movement as well. Once you move, it changes your brain. It just makes your brain, it deceives your brain to being happy. These things are what I know in terms of my knowledge. At that point, it just wasn't working. But now, in hindsight, these are the things that have helped me. Being able to hold yourself and tell yourself, no, I'm not going to be afraid. He actually loves me. I just need to master this skill. I just need to understand how to respect him. And how to respect him is basically just don't control anything. Just be okay. Just focus on you. Look after you and show up as a happy self. That happy is quite infectious.
It's quite infectious. You're happy. It's very infectious here. So I totally get that. How do you think this is impacting your kids?
Well, the thing for them, I think, is the fact that, because in that period, we most of those years we tried our best not to argue in front of them. We tried our very best. I think he only came out once or twice, and I saw the fear in their eyes, and I was like, no, I'm not going to let this happen. But every time we're happy together, they just laughing, they're happy. But the other thing, obviously, is in this journey, like I said, I have grown myself. So the things I have learned, I am teaching them in terms of pay attention to what you focus on. When you're grateful in life, you attract more to yourself, more of what you're grateful for. And this program, honestly, this journey in this last year, Laura, has been the most amazing, most life transforming journey I have been on. And I'm grateful for it, because I say to my kids, the ones that, growing up, I'm like, I learned this thing really late, but I'm so glad you're learning it now. You can live a better life.
Right?
You
It must feel so good to be able to pass that on to your kids,
Yes,
to role model it, to
mm-hmm,
live it,
mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah,
but and also be able to teach them this is what we do. Here's how we focus on
yeah,
what we want. Here's how we be grateful.
absolutely, absolutely. Mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah, amazing. Well, what do you think you would say to Tilly if you could go back in time to a year
Ooh,
ago and tell her what you
ooh.
know now?
Okay, so I think if I think about who I was before, I think one thing I let go of was looking after myself. So what I would tell my younger self would be, don't let go of what you like, what you enjoy, what you love to do, what makes you happy. Never let go of that, because in you being happy, you will attract this man. Don't try to make him happy. Just make you happy. Just remain happy. What are the things that, because in that period, the things I enjoyed doing, I let them slide, but I've learned that when I'm happy, when I'm going, yep, I'm going for this, or yep, I'm going with the girls, it's my spa day today, he's okay. I'm just on the phone because I just want to chat for that long, and I'm happy at the end of the call. I'm happy, So, what I would tell that younger version of me is never lose sight of yourself, never lose sight of who you are, the things that are your passion. Keep going for it. Keep making sure that you live to the fullest that you can every single moment, every single day. And just because, yeah, that's me. The me that's always there is the happy me, is the joyful, passionate, energetic me. So keeping it down is not gonna fly. It's not
No, no.
gonna fly. And I think the other thing that definitely is important that I would tell my younger self is no one can make you happy. It's your responsibility to make you happy. And everything that you need to be happy, everything that you need to fulfill your potential in life, everything that you need to be you is all within you. So you're self-sufficient in there rather than looking here and there and being, dependent on people for your joy, for your happiness, for your fulfillment in life is all in you. Just if you will just stay with you and be calm and be happy with you, you'll be fine.
Mm.
You'll be fine. You'll find your path in life.
So wise, so wise. Oh, I love it. And Tilly, I just want to congratulate you. And I also want to give you this wife award because you
Oh,
deserve
thank you.
it. This is an incredible accomplishment. You've fixed your family, you've repaired your marriage, you've made it peaceful. There's no longer a threat of divorce. You've made yourself happy, created a culture of gratitude in your home. And I just think there's nothing more important than what the work that you've done over the last year to accomplish this. So I want to honor you today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
And it's been such an honor to get to hear for us to get to hear your whole story. And thank you for telling it so vulnerably and so authentically. It was really moving and inspiring.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you so, so much for the opportunity. Thank you for all that you do. It's really, really amazing. It's very transforming, and I'm grateful, really, really grateful. I'm sure a lot of women out there are really grateful as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Tilly. If you'd like to be my guest on the Empowered Wife podcast and share about how you fixed a struggling relationship using the 6 intimacy skills, I would love to interview you. Just go to lauradoyle.org/podcast-guest to let me know that you are willing to make a big contribution to ending world divorce by telling your relationship story. I look forward to meeting you. That's lauradoyle.org/podcast-guest. Listen and subscribe to the Empowered Wife podcast. On next week's podcast, you'll hear the secrets for magnetizing an emotionally unavailable husband. In the meantime, I hope you're having lots of fun. Today's fun fact is that I can't understand why some people love yoga. I mean, that seems like a stretch.